Hey, Coach G here. I'm going to send out the information for the workout today, but wanted to help you kind of walk through it so you can self evaluate what all these numbers mean. So, first thing, hey, great job this morning. I appreciate the fact that you guys showed up, you got warmed up efficiently, you had good attitudes going into it. The really cold weather didn't hurt at all, but you guys had a really good attitude, which is what we want, right? We want you to be able to go to the starting line at races feeling excited, prepared, confident, and ready to go. So if you can take that same attitude that you had this morning for the workout to our next race and our next couple of races, you're going to run so great. You're going to run so great. So don't let those pre race nerves kind of get you out of sorts. Learn from sort of how you felt today versus how you performed, and let's try to translate that directly to our next race. So, looking at all these numbers on a spreadsheet, first thing you would look at to evaluate is how good a job did you do on your first two reps of hitting the pace that you were supposed to be running. So let's keep in mind that that pace was designed to be a little faster than the average pace you've been able to do in a 5K cross country race. Now, knowing that the track is easier to run on, it's got a perfectly flat, hard, good surface to land on, which makes it a little bit easier. But still, we were asking you to run faster than what you do in a race. So check out your split, see how you did. Typically for reps that are this distance, like 4 laps, a mile, 1,600 meters to be precise, if you're within kind of 4 or 5 seconds either way, fast or slow, you're doing a pretty good job. It's hard to hit your splits just exactly and be perfect, and it's really not important that you hit them exactly and be perfect. But to be trying to do, a pretty good job of challenging your aerobic system and challenge you mentally for a mile rep. If you're within 5 seconds plus or minus, like either way, then that's pretty good. And if you didn't, no big thing. Like you were trying, you're figuring it out, you're learning pace. The more that you run, the more that you will do workouts like this, the easier you will find it to get into pace, figure it out, and be ready to try to hit splits. So first of all, how'd you do on those first two reps? Most of you, I'm looking at the results right now, did a great job of that. Some of you were, a tiny bit faster. Some of you were a tiny bit slower. Some of you were dead on. Great. So what we're trying to accomplish there primarily is just working hard, simulating that race pace so that your body knows what it feels like to run longer distances at that speed. So when it comes time to get into a race, you're like, yep, I know what this feels like. Let's go to work. It doesn't feel shockingly hard. It's familiar, so that you're prepared. So that was the first thing to look at. And then on the last rep, where we let you go out there and get after it a little bit and rip and roar, a couple of things. So first of all, is it normal or should you be expected to run faster for the third mile rep at the end of a practice than you did last year in track season, if you were a miler last year during track season? Is that normal? Should it be expected? The answer is absolutely not. It's sort of crazy that we had a few people who were actually able to run faster for their third mile rep than they did back in track. So for Caleb and Grant and Callie and Jacob Roche and Courtney Lacati, awesome. It's amazing. I don't know what to tell you other than if that doesn't give you some confidence to take into the remainder of the season, then I don't know, man. There's glass half empty and glass half full people, and there's glasses who are half completely full and completely empty, and you should be feeling glass completely full based off of that, because that's sort of extraordinary. We train differently for track. When you're trying to train to run as fast as you can for 4 laps on the track, you're doing much more super speed work, the kinds of things that help you be able to really race hard for 4 laps. And cross country training, we're trying to train you to run 12 and a half laps, 3 miles. It's a completely different deal. So it's extraordinary if you did that and not expected. So if you didn't, like, don't worry because like it's just weird. Like it shouldn't happen. Then I also put some information on there to compare to how you did at our Mile Madness race, which was the week of region last cross country season. So for those of you who haven't been on the team before, within the week or two of the region race, we just go to the track one night. We turn the music on in the stands. We invite your parents to come out. Some of the kids will dress up in costumes. We invite middle schoolers to come and run with us. And we go run an all out mile on the track. Like, so we haven't done 2 mile reps before that. We just do one, go get it, run as fast as you can for a mile. We'll do that again this year. Typically, the reason we do it is because number one, it's fun. Number two, we love being able to share that with the middle schoolers so they get a sense of what our team's like and will want to do our sport. And number three, it's a confidence thing, right? So you'll go out and run really fast for Mile Madness, and you'll be like, whoa, I ran faster than I did in track season, and I'm not even doing workouts for the mile. I'm doing 5K workouts, and now I feel like really ready to get after it at region when it all matters. So some of you, quite a few of you actually, ran faster for the mile at the end of the workout today than you did for Mile Madness last year. So again, is that expected and normal? And the answer again is no. Like when you're completely fresh and you're going to run 4 laps as hard as you can, that is a completely different experience than when you already have 2 hard miles like under your belt. So for those of you who did, again, it just shows you that you have another year's worth of experience. You have another year's worth of physical maturity. You're just older and stronger. It means that the work that you did last spring in track, this summer, the training that you put in, and then the training that you've done during the season has paid off like it always will if you will be diligent and if you can stay healthy and uninjured and do consistent running, you will get better. And the fact that you were able to run faster than you did in Mile Madness, again, is an indicator to you that you should feel great about all the work that you've put in, that that it was worth it because you're absolutely 100% demonstrating that you've been able to get better. And then again, if you didn't, don't sweat it because like I'm not expecting it, and I don't think it's normal. Like you shouldn't normally be able to do that. But if you did, cool. And if you were pretty close, like cool again. And also, it means that for Mile Madness, you're going to run way faster than you did last year because that's just what we would expect if you're going to be able to do that fresh. And then the final thing that I put in there was a measurement of what you ran for that last mile versus what you've been running for your personal best so far this season for your average miles. So let's say you were like a 1835, 1840 runner. That means that you were running on average like 6-minute miles for your 3 miles. And then if for this last mile of this event, like some people, like I'll just pick one person off, Zach Nothey, 1830 guy, so 5:55 average pace. He ran 5:28 today. So what you were able to do in your last mile of this workout was to run significantly faster than what you've been doing for your average pace. So yeah, is that reasonable to expect? Yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect to run a little faster because you're getting 4 minutes rest in between those reps. And during a race, you get 0 minutes rest in between the miles. But still, if you look at most of your splits and most of your races, your last mile is not your fastest mile, not even close. Your first mile is usually your fastest because you're excited, and you also run the opening 200 meters really fast because everybody sprints at the start of cross-country races. I'm not sure why. Like, it's not the way to run your fastest race, but high school kids all sprint at the start of cross-country races, so we sort of go along with the flow on that. And then a lot of you ran over a minute faster for your last mile than what you have been averaging for your 5Ks so far this season. What this should tell for all of you, whether you ran just a few, 20 seconds faster or whether you ran a minute faster, it tells you that you're more capable than you thought you were. You're a better, more well-trained athlete than you thought that you were. And therefore, you can try a little bit harder in the first mile in some cases if that's where you think that you need to improve. Most all of you can run harder in that middle mile, which is where I know most high school runners need to improve if they want to run a fast full 5K, because you get excited in that first mile and you've got adrenaline and you run fast at the end of the last mile because you're at the finish line and you know the suffering's almost over and your parents are cheering for you, so you can get that internal motivation to try harder. And when it's hard to try hard is in that middle mile. So what you can do is use this workout, the fact that you know that you are running really fast in that last mile, as motivation to say, hey, I can try a little harder in that middle mile. I know I can, because I just proved that in the third mile I can try way harder. So if I can try way harder in the third mile, I can try harder in the second mile too. And generally, across the board, top to bottom, what this tells me is that our team is training well, that we're rounding into shape, into good fitness, that you can expect to run well and fast at the last meets that we've got going on. Now, how this translates into time, I swear I can't tell you, just because we don't know what the factors are going to be, right? If we show up at our last races and the temperature's 90 degrees in all of those races, are you going to run faster times? Well, some of you will, but a lot of you won't, because trying to race a cross-country race in 90 degrees is just a recipe for disaster. You'll still try hard, right? But in that case, you're just competing against place, and you're not evaluating yourself based upon time. You're evaluating yourself based upon, did I run appropriately hard? Did I try really hard? And did I try to beat people at the end of the races or whatever? But I think we're set up. These numbers tell me, and again, been looking at it a long time. You can look at the numbers that I sent out earlier this week from the 2019 team that all got way better at the end of the season, that all ran great at region, that all ran great at the state meet, for those who were in the state meet. These numbers tell me that we are on a really good path. And knowing that you're on a really good path, here's my ask. And this is not for me as a coach, for sure. I mean, am I pleased, and is the rest of the coaching staff pleased when you ladies and young men run well at the end of the season and you feel accomplished and you realize that all of that hard work and effort that you put in can make changes in your life, and in this case how you perform in a running race, but that the same principles of trying hard and being diligent lead to really good things no matter what it is that you're trying to focus on, your schoolwork, trying to attain some sort of crazy goal like becoming a doctor one day, all those other kinds of things that you have to try hard over a long period of time and then get the payoff at the end. So of course we want you to do well, because it's more fun when everybody's performing well. But really, I think what I would ask is that we're getting ready to go on break. It's going to be potentially, if you take off tomorrow to go on vacation and you don't show up again for a practice again until a week from next Monday, that's going to be 9 days that are away from your regular support group, your team to train with, to hold you accountable. The fact that you have to get up when that alarm goes off in the morning to show up at practice, because everybody's going to expect to see you there and you want to see your friends and stuff. But if you're going to be off on vacation and suddenly you don't have that motivation or that sense of like, I have to do it because if I don't show up at practices, the coaches are going to be mad at me or whatever. Please don't go off for 9 days and not run at all. Please don't waste this beautiful momentum that you've got going. Please don't waste all of the hard work and determination. Please don't waste all those super early mornings that you got up to go run at the crack of dawn at school. Please don't do that to yourself, because here's what I do know. If you go off and decide not to run for 9 days and you come back, you are not going to be able to perform as well as you would like for the end of the season. And that not only is disappointing for you personally, but you have an accountability to your team, right? To your, not only just to your team, but to your little small training group, to those 5 or 6 people that you're doing those workouts with, that you're feeling that synergy. Um, you know, don't do that to them either. Especially if you feel like that you're going to be part of one of our varsity squads or our JV squads that are going to try to score really well at the region meet and try to beat Lambert and all those other schools and try to win some team titles and championships. If you don't go run for the next 9 days, you're just going to blow it. And don't blow it. Don't blow it. Not for you, not for your teammates, not for your friends, not for your family who's been getting up at the crack of dawn and driving you around all over the place. Um, do the work that you need to over the next 9 days so that you can finish out the rest of the season strong. All right. I hope you listened to the whole thing. If you didn't, oh well. But anyway, great job this morning. Now you know how to kind of evaluate the workout results I'm going to send out. See you later. Bye. Have a good break.